This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
It's precisely 6:15. This is the news on Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News is edited by Dilini Gunawardana, read by Sabrina Zawahir. The headlines. The President says that discussions on restructuring the loans are successful. Preparations are underway to celebrate the 75th National Independence Day. The chairman of the National Delimitation Committee says that delay in issuing its report will not impact the upcoming local government election. Sri Lanka Hadabim Authority launches a program to develop poultry farming in the country. And in world news, Russia names a new commander in Ukraine. And in sports, the second ODI between Sri Lanka and Indian teams is underway at the Eden Gardens in Calcutta. Now the local news in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that discussions on restructuring the loans are successful. The country should be directed properly forward in spite of the prevailing crisis. The President expressed this view while addressing the Pratibha Abhishek Award Ceremony 2022 organized by the Women's Chamber of Industry and Commerce in appreciation of women entrepreneurs today. Accordingly, the President said that the possibility of a memorandum will be investigated and necessary relief will be provided in order to protect the business community in the country. The Governor of the Central Bank has already been instructed to take the necessary steps. The assistance of the IMF is expected in near future. The World Bank and the Asian Development Bank are anticipated to provide loans to the country. The government is focusing on restructuring the government bodies that do not earn profits in the hope of stabilizing the economy. The President further emphasized everyone should be committed to do their best in order to make the future prosperous. The President's media division states that preparations are underway to celebrate the 75th National Independence Day with pride together with the new reformist program for the next 25 years. During this celebration held with pride under the theme Namo Namo Mata, a step towards a century, the government will announce its new reformist course for the next 25 years for the implementation of a stable government policy right until the 100th Independence Day celebrations in 2048. Thus, the main ceremony of the National Independence Day celebrations will be held on February 4th at 8:30 a.m. at the Golface Green under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardana. The festivities are scheduled to begin after the offering of floral tributes at the statue of Mahakadiya Senanayaka at the Independence Square and the statue of the war heroes at the Presidential Secretariat. Many cultural and religious programs have been organized throughout the country in conjunction with the 75th National Independence Festival. Accordingly, the Buddhist religious rites will be performed on the evening of February 2nd at Sri Dalada Maligawa. The Catholic religious services will be held at Maradana Fatima Church on February 4th at 6:30 a.m. Hindu religious rituals will be held on the morning of February 3rd at the Trincomalee Dakshina Kailash or Koneswaram Temple. Arrangements have been made to hold Muslim religious services on February 4th at 10 a.m. at the Colombo Grand Mosque. This news is brought to you by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sisudana from People's Bank. Give your child the strength to succeed.
Continuing local news, Chairman of the National Delimitation Committee, Mahinda Deshapriya, said that the final report of the committee on the delimitation of the country's local government bodies could be further delayed. However, he said the delay in issuing the report will not impact the upcoming local government election. He said the delay in issuing the report was due to multiple reports including the promotion, the retirement and transfers given to the relevant state officials as well as the busy schedule of the Assistant and Deputy Election Commissioner. He said the National Delimitation Committee was to produce its final report to the government on the 28th of February. However, given the existing situation, it could be delayed to late March. A request will be made next week to the respective officials to extend the tenure of the National Delimitation Committee. Mahinda Deshapriya further stressed that the delay in producing the final report of the National Delimitation Committee will in no way impact the upcoming local government election. MP Iran Vikramaratne points out that no one can exceed the rules and regulations of the Election Commission in holding elections. He expressed this view at a media briefing held today at the office of the opposition leader. Some are stating that holding an election will be an expensive matter. He also said that some politicians try to postpone the election intentionally as they are unable to face the public. Sri Lanka Hadabim Authority is launching a program to improve poultry farming in the country. This program focuses on uplifting the life condition of the low-income earners in remote areas. The Minister of Agriculture, Mahinda Amaravira, has instructed the authority to restart poultry farming as there is a high demand for eggs and chicken. 18,000 chicks have been distributed among the low-income families during the last 6 months. That ends local news.
From the very first day at school, teach your child the lesson of saving. Open a Sisu Udana account with People's Bank. Higher interest with more gifts and benefits.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
664 police special task force personnel were promoted to higher ranks. Accordingly, amongst the 664 personnel, 495 are police constables who were promoted to the rank of sergeant, while 111 sergeants were promoted to the rank of STF sub-inspector. That was main news.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watchlight, the chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board says that the Kalinthissa power station might be disabled from tomorrow morning due to the lack of naphtha to operate the Kalinthissa power station. He said that the plant has enough naphtha to operate until tomorrow morning and also mentioned that the Petroleum Corporation is ready to give naphtha only for cash in hand. He further said that the Electricity Board is negotiating with the authorities to find money to pay the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation to buy the naphtha needed to operate the plant. That was Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Taking a look at the headlines of the world news, Russia names a new commander in Ukraine. UAE names oil chief to lead COP28 talks. Dozens killed in protests against Peru's government as unrest continues. Now the world news in detail. Russia has appointed Army General Valery Gerasimov to lead its war efforts in Ukraine, effectively demoting Sergei Surovikin only 3 months after he was tasked with overseeing what Moscow calls a special military operation. The Wagner Group says it has captured all of the eastern salt mining town of Soldia, but Ukraine denies the town has fallen and says fighting continues. Sultan Ahmad Al Jaber, the CEO of the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, has been named to lead the COP28 global climate talks in Dubai later this year. He is also the Minister for Trade and Climate Envoy for the COP28 hosts of the United Arab Emirates. Campaigners say he must stand down from his oil business role while president, as it is a clear conflict of interest. Protests against Peruvian President Dina Boluarte's government that had 8 people dead since they began a month ago spread through the south of the Andean country on Wednesday, with new clashes reported in the tourist city of Cusco. 37 civilians and 6 police officers were injured after protesters tried to take over the city's airport, where many foreign tourists arrived to see sights. With that, we conclude the world news. Prior to concluding the headlines of the world news once again, Russia names a new commander in Ukraine. UAE names oil chief to lead COP28 talks. Dozens killed in protest against Peru's government as unrest continues. That ends world news.
Development news.
Moving on to development news. The program Lassana Verala, focusing on cleaning the beach of the Colombo city, was launched recently. This is monitored by the Central Environmental Authority. This program aims to clean the beach side from Mount Lavinia to Colombo Port City. The Hivala, Mount Lavinia Municipal Council, Colombo Port City and Coast Conservation and Coastal Resource Management Department contribute to this program. That was Development News.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Moving on to sports news, the second ODI between Sri Lankan and Indian teams is underway at the Eden Gardens in Kolkata. Sri Lanka won the toss and chose to bat first. At the end of 39 overs and 4 balls, the Sri Lankan team was all out for 215 runs. Novinder Fernando, who played for his maiden one-day international match, scored his maiden half-century in 63 balls with 6 boundaries. India has scored 81 runs for the loss of 3 wickets at the end of 13 overs. That was sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Hatton National Bank won Best Corporate Citizen Sustainability Award 2022 at the 19th Best Corporate Citizen Sustainability Awards organized by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. Sampath Bank and Nestle Lanka were adjudged the first and second runners-up respectively. The awards promote corporate citizen sustainability ownership and initiatives that deliver social and environmental benefits while pursuing profits. That was Business News.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, the Chinese embassy in Colombo states that President Ranil Wickremesinghe has held a video conference with the chairman of the Export-Import Bank of China on bilateral cooperation and debt issues. The embassy tweeted on Wednesday that the talks were fruitful and that the two sides agreed to further strengthen exchanges and collaborations on the resolution of Sri Lanka's debt issues and help the island's economic recovery and sustainable development. That was economic news.
Weather report.
Finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Met Department predicts that mainly fair weather will prevail over most parts of the island. That was the weather report, and prior to concluding this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. The President says that discussions on restructuring the loans are successful. Preparations are underway to celebrate the 75th National Independence Day. The chairman of the National Delimitation Committee says that delay in issuing its report will not impact the upcoming local government election. Sri Lanka Hadabim Authority launches a program to develop poultry farming in the country. With that, we conclude the news.